During this last year, Pop 2K8 went under 2 hours thanks to the work of everybody involved like in that game. Like it's way too long. As JMP said, it's a dread block in a way because he also contributed a lot, but let's not take credit from GMP, Smath, and Sam, who are also here today to present us the first sub 2 hour live at an event for this game. The game that made Toka the game that Toka played due to this run being sub 2. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Prince of Persia 2008. I'm definitely not nervous whatsoever. Yes, so the estimate for this run will be 2 hours flat, which is extremely tight, to say the least. So I've invited Sam to join me for commentary, and in fact, for a large chunk of the run at least, I will try to focus and have Sam do the commentary. I also don't have chat open because I don't want to get distracted. But yeah, Sam, you can introduce yourself and we'll crack on with it.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm definitely awake. I am drinking coffee out of my PoPRuns 8 official mug, so I couldn't be more ready if I tried.
Okay, let's do it then.
Looks like I have maybe like a 3-second delay, so not too bad.
Yeah, it should be roughly that. Okay, so I will count down now. We'll start the run in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, so here at the beginning, Smath is going to be focusing pretty hard because the beginning of this run is one of the most important moments of it. He is going to be clipping out of bounds here in just a second and attempting to essentially bypass most of the beginning, and that breaks quite a few things if he pulls it off successfully.
I fucking did it.
And he's got it first try. Very nice.
Oh, that was like genuinely, that was one of the biggest hurdles.
Yeah, that is. It doesn't look all that complicated, but it is incredibly precise. If you press jump at the wrong moments there, then the prince just jumps into the void and dies. So, with that, Smath now gets to ignore a bunch of cutscenes, skip a fight, and he will also, here in a moment, get the opportunity to carry Elika, which is supposed to be the cinematic moment where these two characters have just met and they start to bond. But because the load triggers have not been hit, we can actually just carry Elika out of bounds, and we have used Cheat Engine to deduce how long we need to hold various directions for, such that we can go straight to a load trigger much later in the game. And we'll be using this to skip kind of the rest of the intro of the game, which means that both in terms of game mechanics and consistent with the lore, the evil god Ahriman has not been released yet, and so the levels are not corrupted. So we don't have to actually beat the levels. We can just go collect all of the light seeds, the collectibles of this game, without having to do any of the work. And most importantly, we will have a double jump for that, which has not always been the case in this game.
So I'm really glad I've invited you, Sam, because I have no idea what you just said, because that's how hard I was focusing.
Good. That's good.
But we're here for another minute or so, just Elika walking.
Yeah, unfortunately, carrying Elika is quite slow, but without it, we would not be able to do the things we can do in this run. Once Smath gets to his destination here, you'll see the world load back in, and then there's just going to be some finicky movement on out-of-bounds terrain in order to get in a situation where we can get control over the prince again without carrying Elika. Nice. And with that, Math is now in a pretty good state. He just has to clip back in bounds here by getting through this wall. Which he has done. Now, the nice thing about this game is that it's broken as hell. And so if you jump onto a beam while carrying Elika, you get back to your normal controls. So disregard the fact that we are treating Elika like a inanimate object right now and just throwing her all over the place. We can move fast once again, which is the important part. Unfortunately, this won't last for the whole run. The first time that we death abuse, she will go back to normal, but so enjoy this while you can. But yeah, so now we need to get as many light seeds as we can without healing any levels, because they're all already healed. So light seeds in this game are these collectibles that you're seeing him pick up, and they are necessary for unlocking the various platforming powers that are necessary to beat the game. So we're just going to get pretty much all the ones we need ahead of time here before we go back and finish the intro of the game, which turns out to be quite fast since we don't have to beat any of the levels and we get to ignore various cutscenes and things. Turns out to save a lot of time. You can see the boss there is just like static in the middle of the arena. We'll see that quite a few times throughout the run just because the game is not counting on us to be here right now. And so what you've just seen there is a ledge warp. Essentially, if you grab onto the end of a beam like that, like way further out than it looks like you should be able to, the prince is quickly swept away to where the game thinks he should be when he's in a holding ledge state. And we can manipulate that based on the last place that we were holding on to a ledge. So we'll be using that quite a bit throughout the run, and it allows for very quick traversal between places, even though we haven't unlocked fast travel. It also means we can get to light seeds that we wouldn't normally have access to. Classic. Can't count how many times I've missed that seed. We're almost done with our first level here. Some of the levels won't be quite this clean in the sense that we will come at them from multiple angles or visit them multiple times, but King's Gate here, very straightforward. You just you come here, you get pretty much almost all the seeds, and then you leave. Very nice. Sun Temple here, kind of the exact opposite of what I just said. We do attack this one from multiple sides in a sense, and we also here's a neat little trick where Smath's going to jump at a very specific spot to avoid touching the ground there. That way when he dies, he respawns all the way back where he came from rather than on that platform in the middle. Which is pretty much how this, that's how dying in this game works. There are instant retries, essentially, but you always respawn on the last safe ground you touch, in kind of air quotes. So when we can, we will make sure that that spot we respawn is as beneficial as possible for us. Just while we're in a kind of transitory place here, you may notice as we travel, we've already passed by 3 of them. But there are sections in these levels that are locked behind these plates, as we call them, which are there are 4 different colors of power you can get in this game, and every level has 5 seeds connected to one of those powers. Since we don't have any of them yet, we will sometimes be able to abuse glitches or just really specific movement to access those extra 5 seeds. But sometimes we won't be able to as well, and so that's kind of like a bit of a issue that we have to bypass to get as many seeds as we can. We sometimes have to go out of our way to get those, just because it's usually a group of 5 all together, which is very fast. Speaking of which, there's actually that group of 5 for this level is coming up very soon. But while I go for them in my route for this game, I'm pretty sure Smath doesn't, so we won't be seeing those today. They should be on screen here in a moment, I think. They're just on top of this big wall to our right here. Yeah, there they are. So here's a very regular little section of the game that I feel completely normal about, and it's very easy because we have double jump, and you can just kind of do whatever you want here, and it'll work, and it's fine. You don't need to do insane, harshly timed movement. You can just kind of go through it like the game intended, which is nice.
Windmill ledge wolf coming up.
Yep, we are taking a quick tour through Smath's home, so enjoy your stay.
This is the level I did blindfolded. But it's a bit different in this run.
Yeah, so there you saw Smath fall off the end of that ledge purposefully to set his ledge storage. And now when he does another ledge warp, that's the position the game will send the prince to, essentially. So that's kind of how that process works and how we'll be going about manipulating that throughout the run. Here he's doing a pause buffer, so this game's very nice in that you can reliably go 1 frame at a time by pausing. And that's allowed him to, in the middle of the warp, stand up in the middle and jump here to get to a section of the level that usually would require us going the long way around or using plate powers that we don't have. So So that is a very old glitch. I think probably like the first one found in the game. We call it Elika clipping. Essentially, when you double jump, Elika throws you mid-air. And if you do it while you're rubbing up against a ceiling at just the right time, she will actually just toss the prince through the ceiling. And so you can use that to clip upwards in certain circumstances. You may have seen at the top of that pillar we just passed, there were 2 seeds. They are deceptively hard to get. Even with all the speedrun tech in the world, they are still kind of risky because you can go for them and just the prince doesn't grab them and falls instead. There is literally like no good way to get them. Even the way the game intends you to do it just doesn't really work. Kind of a little bit of an oversight on the developer's part there. Here is corner clipping. So when you walk up to an edge while holding the button to fall down and grind down a wall, the prince just immediately tumbles off the ledge to start his wall grind. And if you do that when you are at the edge of a platform like that, you can actually just clip into the wall. And then once you're on the other side of the wall, you can perform a jump to get fully clipped through and onto the other side to go wherever you want to. We'll be using that quite a bit as well, but right there it is especially useful because without plate powers, that is the only way we can actually get up there. Yeah, GMP makes a great point in chat. You'll be noticing that there are seeds Smath isn't getting. We need 540 total for this run, and we have optimized the game so much to this point that there are just a lot of seeds we don't get because we've timed all of them, and we only get the fastest ones, which means that sometimes you might see a seed and think, well, that one looks like it's right there. Why didn't you go get that? And it's simply because we are spoiled for choice in this route. We just have so many options, so we opt for all the good ones essentially. We have a viewer request. Explain long fall. So basically, there's a glitch active right now that makes it so that Smath can fall really far without dying when he otherwise normally would, and that's literally all I know about long fall. I have no idea what it is, how or why it works, so I'll leave that to you, Smath.
It's casual, like it's not even a glitch. You're just given it at the start of the game, and we just skipped all triggers that take it away.
Right, sure. So the fact that we have it's kind of a glitch, but it itself is not.
Yeah, well, we just skipped a trigger. I would say it's unintended that we have it, but I wouldn't call it
Sure,
a glitch.
sure.
I would say if
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
If an NMG you could skip all the same load triggers, all the same triggers to have long fall. I would allow them.
Makes sense to me. So yeah, there's your explanation. Sometimes you'll see him drop a great distance and survive, and it looks a little funny, but that's just because, as he said, we have kind of skipped the part of the game that should take that privilege away from us. Here we're coming up on Heaven's Stair, which is a place we'll be revisiting quite a bit, so hope you like the view. But on this first pass, we will just be going pretty much straight through, grabbing some seeds on our way. I like that Drep was like, hey Sam, explain Longfall, and then literally every member of the community except me explained it. Well, there's not a lot to talk about at the moment. I'll go over some little movement tech he's doing. When you jump onto a pillar, you can hold a direction and he'll snap to that direction. So instead of just going straight to the opposite side of the pillar, you can hold left or right and he'll go to the left or right, which means that in circumstances where you need to ultimately go back the direction you came from, you can do that just to save a little bit of time.
But it's one of the fun sections coming up very soon indeed, so I think there will be some things to talk about. Because this is one of the main... one of the first sections where the run can die.
Well, I was thinking if we don't talk about it, it can't hurt us. Just a very normal section right here where you just double jump. Super straightforward. Nothing, no trauma here. Absolutely nothing scary about this particular location.
Then can you miss it?
That's actually a good question. Smath, how many seeds are you getting before going back to the temple on this route?
477. But
477 out of our 540.
But for now, I'm gonna shut up because I got ledge storage back there.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start explaining. So, this route introduced a concept to speedrunning this game that kind of previously didn't exist, which is the idea of getting ledge storage in one place and then playing the game for a very long time, maintaining that ledge storage without losing it so that you can later teleport back to the spot you got the storage. So right now, Smath is doing a lot of platforming, and if he grabs a single ledge, he loses the ability to teleport and has to walk all the way back. So the stakes are very high. This is something we'll be doing multiple times throughout the run. It is, I can speak from personal experience, very nerve-wracking, and it sounds like something that would be easy to avoid. It is much harder than you would expect. I should mention, ledge storage is a bit weird in that it's not just grabbing ledges. There are other activities that reset your ledge storage. Specifically, if you jump too late when running off the edge of a platform, you get a extended jump. The prince kind of steps on the air off the edge of the platform, and because that's a bit of a abuse of the system mechanics, the game actually sets your ledge storage to the ledge you kind of stepped over the edge of, because under normal circumstances it expects you to not jump there but to fall down and grab that ledge. So something as simple as jumping a little too late can be the death of this this tech or this skip. It's very difficult to do, and it requires an immense amount of focus, which is pretty much the whole reason that I am here today, is so that Smath can take his time and hopefully get all of the skips that use this our speedrunner version of fast travel, if you will. We are coming up on the end of the first section here that uses that teleport tech. And so right there, what Smath did is climb over a ledge, which is not the same as grabbing it, which I know is a bit strange. And with that, he's done it. So that's the first one down. So you see, we were here back when Smath said he got storage, which was like a couple minutes ago. So we've skipped an immense amount of platforming, and we've been able to get a bunch of light seeds in a very short amount of time, thanks to that. There are other places in the run where we'll be using that as well, but for now, Smath gets to breathe a sigh of relief and go back to normal low-stakes platforming for a bit. Oh yeah, also Elika's gone. Don't worry about it.
She was there as well. Like, that's the last place where we died, and Elika is still there. Because that's where she respawned us.
I didn't see her, but yeah, no, I forgot about that. Also, I just want to say how crazy it is that we're 25 minutes into the run, and he's already 250 plus light seeds. This game used to be like close to 4 hours long at the start of its speedrunning life, and so it's just absolutely insane to see the number that high this quickly. Even if I've done runs of this route myself, it's still just wild to see how fast it goes by. Nice gold.
By 0.00 seconds.
Perhaps a sign that you've maybe played this game once or twice before. If you've never played this game casually, or if you played it casually a long time ago, you probably just won't realize how much we're skipping with this whole getting into the levels early business. There's like, he just walked underneath a giant puzzle that you need to solve typically to beat this level, and it's very slow and cumbersome, and it's just it's all gone now because he didn't have to do it. And it's like that in literally every level in the game. There's just all kinds of stuff you have to do to access the light seeds in these levels, and we just get to ignore pretty much all of it. Typically, dying for the sake of a seed is not worth it in this route just because of how fast everything is. There's a great example of Longfall, by the way. But yeah, there are two seeds right next to each other, so it makes up for how long it takes for the death animation and everything. So this is Cauldron, as you can see on Smath Splits. This is actually one of the... Oh, fair point. Well, this is Cauldron, as you can't see on Smath Splits. This is one of the kind of intro levels that's meant to kind of teach you how the game works. Ironically, we come here after, like, after what, like 7 or 8 other levels. But this is a pretty compact level. There are a lot of light seeds all right next to each other. But because the level is kind of designed with verticality in mind, we actually end up taking a rather complex route through it, like lots of zigzagging, but it results in us getting a lot of seeds very fast.
Did we mention that because there's no Elika, we get to move on vines faster?
No, we haven't brought that up. Yeah, so as was pointed out a bit ago, you can see that the prince is just swinging on empty air. That's due to the fact that Elika's not behaving correctly since we've got the game in such a buggy state. And so typically there are these cute little animations where Elika like jumps into the prince's arms after they do a long drop, or she grabs onto his shoulders while he's climbing on things. And it's while great world building and character development is very slow, and so thankfully, since Elika is kind of just MIA at the moment, we get to ignore all of those extra animations that would eat up time. This is another of the intro levels here. Another good use of long fall right there.
That was a mistake. It's fine, I'll get that seed later.
Yeah, we're actually going to be passing through this area again in a bit, so doesn't matter too much if you get exactly the right seeds here.
Yeah, I mean, I probably lost like a couple seconds there, but it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, the intention was to jump past the pillar he grabbed onto, because we'll be climbing on it later anyway, but not too big of a deal. We're coming up here on the last of the 4 intro levels that we'll visit. This one's got quite a lengthy kind of intro section to it, or like the route to travel to it's quite long, which is what he's going through now, but it does give us a chance to pick up some more seeds along the way.
Camera always misbehaves there.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game in the sense that it's very on rails in a sense. Like they made a very discrete number of levels with very specific routes you're supposed to take through them, and yet in many places in the game it just kind of breaks. Like the camera will do weird stuff, or the prince will jump in an awkward direction, even though you're following the quote-unquote intended path. Very nice. Another good use of long fall there. So there's a neat little skip you can do here to go underneath that middle pillar, and I'm very thankful that Smath didn't go for it. Because
No, I was gonna go for it, but I landed too high after the wall run, so
I saw you pause, and it made me very nervous. It's an incredibly specific skip, and if you miss it, which you do more often than not, in my experience, it sends you quite a ways back. So,
generally,
and it's like
generally
go
I
ahead.
err on the side of going too high, so that if you miss it, then you just do it the normal way, and then you don't
Yeah,
really lose
yeah.
any time. But like if if I already land too high by accident, then I'm not gonna like go back down again to attempt the skip. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, no, it saves like 1.5 seconds maybe, but it's just a very satisfying skip to get. It feels way faster than it actually is. So here in the warrior's domain, there are several levels that are, again, kind of designed to be completely vertical, which makes them quite slow.
Okay.
That was fully intentional. Smath knew that would happen. He's done that many times before. Don't let the terrified expression on his face confuse you. I certainly knew that could happen. That's not the first time I've seen that. But yeah, no. So in this level, most of the seeds are above us, but it's just not worth it to go get them. So we just kind of pass through this place, treat it as transitory, and move on to the next level. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I saw you do that, and I went, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that," and I just assumed that you did it on purpose until I saw the expression on your face.
First big time loss. Ah, that's huge. I tried to press Elika as well, but but it was too late. I got the air step. Okay, so I lost 20 seconds there.
Not great, could be worse. Still lots of time to make up later. It is one of the big challenges of speedrunning this game that any death can set you back quite far, just because there are lots of platforming sections where you will go a long while without hitting any safe ground, meaning that if you die, you get taken all the way back to the last time you were standing on normal ground. So can be quite punishing at times.
These next two seeds are really tough to get quickly.
Yeah, there's a very specific spot on this pole he can jump off of, or this column rather.
I got one of them. Are you kidding me? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
get
that's
an extra one somewhere.
Yeah, that's what happens there if you're not at exactly the right spot on the column. It's very precise, that one.
But at least I got one of them. So I don't have to get 2 extra. Oh, okay. Lovely, now I have to get 2 extra. Okay, I know which ones I'm gonna get, but I'm gonna lose a lot of time. So this is becoming quite tight. Oh yeah, so this is one of the ones I'm getting. I think at this point, Hunter Return skip is required to get estimates.
Yeah.
And we'll explain what that is when we get there, but I'm just thinking out loud right now.
Yeah, I would say so. But yeah, I was just thinking about kind of piggybacking off my earlier comment about how punishing deaths can be for the speedrun. Back when this game came out, it was quite heavily criticized by average players and critics alike for the fact that you can't die, in air quotes. Like, every time you fall, Elika just saves you. And while that was kind of a newer, more interesting concept in 2008 than it is today, I think people didn't really appreciate, because of course most people played this game once, right? They played it casually and then they moved on with their lives. I don't really think people understood the design intent of this game. If you had traditional game over screens in this game, it would take like 3 times longer than it does, even for a casual playthrough. It's this game is very specifically designed with like uh challenging platforming sections in mind. It's a chill vibes based game, but if you stop paying attention for even a second, you're probably just gonna fall to your death. And if you had to sit through a "you died" screen and then respawn at a checkpoint, it would just be a miserable experience.
We got ledge storage, by the way.
Yes, we are back now in another of these sections where if Smath grabs a ledge, walks
Nope.
over an edge to... Yep, nope, just better to die here.
Yeah. Why is he doing that again? That's never happened before. Okay. Maybe stand here? Okay, that looks good.
Yeah, so there, very specific movement in order to get up onto this platform without grabbing any ledges. Because, again, he's going to teleport in a while to go all the way back to where he got ledge storage last, and he just needs to make sure that in the meantime he doesn't lose that storage. So that's why there, when he got the incorrect aim, he was sure to very carefully just fall down and respawn, because the alternative would have been to potentially get ledge storage, which would have ruined the skip.
Yeah, I mean, if I grab any ledge, I'll lose like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, these skips are quite big. We don't... These sections are very challenging, and we don't do them for no reason. It is because it saves an immense amount of time. So you may recognize this area. This is actually where he did the warp earlier in the first section like this. And now we're coming at it from the other side.
So, Hunter return skip is definitely required now to hit estimate. But estimate's not dead yet.
You haven't learned the jump there.
Ba.
I apologize for the long silence, everyone. I'm just having a minor heart attack watching this unfold. Does Sam still run this game? Depends on how you define it. I was running this game earlier this year, and I intend to get back to it one day. But I'm not actively running it at the moment. Also, this is where Smath made that mistake we talked about earlier, so now he's back here and he can just rectify that mistake.
So we've still got ledge storage, by the way. Still, if I grab
Yep.
any ledge, like, Ron's dead. Which is
Yep, we
tougher
have,
than you think here, I assure you.
yeah, for sure. It is gonna be quite a while that we hold on to this particular storage. We're actually heading back to the beginning of the game now to get the powers that we need in order to beat the game. And to do that, we have to finish the kind of tutorial that we never got around to. So this is theoretically the part of the game where you're supposed to unlock double jump, but of course we've had that the whole time. It is truly a miraculous thing that we are able to hold lead storage for this long through this much of the game. But the benefit here is that once Smath has gotten all of the powers he needs, he will be able to teleport back into the levels even though they have not yet been healed, which is usually not possible. Here we're going to clip under the ground. This is called Ultimate Glitch, named after a very funny YouTube video from way back in the day. And this allows us to skip opening that door, which is quite slow. It's not like a million years or anything, but it does take quite a bit more time than you would just think opening a door would.
Well, also it's required because climbing the
Right.
climbing the platform to get to the switch that opens the door requires grabbing a fissure, which we can't do because we would lose ledge storage. So even through all these cutscenes and everything, we're still conserving ledge storage.
Yeah, one of the most difficult places to keep storage is still yet to come, and it took us a long time to find viable ways to consistently get it. But first he has to fight his father-in-law here real quick. So fighting in this game is pretty interesting, I would say. It's not at all freeform. It's a very like strict and robotic kind of fighting system. But Smath has studied the intricacies of the combat system in this game to an extent that is both admirable and concerning. And he has a knowledge of that particular fight, of all of the optimal combos to do, depending on the randomness of when the enemy blocks and stuff, to always get the fastest result. But it is, it's a system that is kind of misleading in its complexity. When you play the game, it seems quite simplistic, but when you start breaking down all the little mechanics, it gets quite nitty and gritty. So there he jumped to the wall to hit a load trigger, I'm pretty sure. And now he is lining up to bypass this little section without grabbing onto that fissure in the wall, because that would lose ledge storage. And he got it. So that particular skip, incredibly precise, very, very not simple. You have to get in a very specific position, and you have to time your jumps quite well as well. You know, this is at its core a platformer, and the whole concept of ledge storage and keeping it is basically like, hey, what if you didn't platform? So it's very antithetical to like what the game wants you to do, so you have to go quite far out of your way.
Okay, a bit of a breather here, but we've still got ledge storage, so we're gonna be keeping ledge storage for, I think, the next 10 or 5 to 10 minutes or so, and then we will use it.
A lot of cutscenes coming up, so this is always, it's very nice that pretty much no matter what route you're using, in terms of the any % routes over the years, This almost always comes at the like roughly halfway point of the game, which is just a real great thing for like having a moment to relax.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the whole of Pre-Temple, there's not a single cutscene. So you saw there after the dad fight, I had a sip of water, and that's because that was literally the first opportunity to have a sip of water or just take my hands off the mouse and keyboard in 45 minutes. Because before that, there was literally not a single opportunity. So it's very nice to have this section for sure. To just kind of sit here and chill for a little bit.
Yeah, it is it's a very funny thing. Back when this game was in its infancy as a speed game, it was heavily criticized for how slow and boring it was because the game was genuinely like you would have a lengthy cutscene every like 5 minutes, and now we go the first hour with almost no cutscenes, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, the only cutscene is the collapsing bridge, which is in this run it was 58 seconds in.
GMP, I just want to go on the record as saying I have lost sludge storage inside the plates. So it is definitely a thing that can happen.
Are you ready? We have to use these powers to get up to the fertile grounds? Yes. They were used
Just to give a little more explanation for those unfamiliar with the game, you may have seen that throughout this run, Smath's light seed counter has set a number out of another number out of 60. 60 is the number of seeds you need to get your first plate power. And then once you get that, it goes up to 140, right? Not 170, it's 140?
170, I think.
Is it 170? Well, I guess we're maybe about to find out if it shows up on screen, but yeah, the number goes up. Okay, yeah, people in chat say 170 as well. But yeah, it goes up each time you get a power, and then 540 is the number for the fourth one. Yes, GMP said 60, 170, 340, 540. So all those light seeds we've been collecting, they allow us, now that we're back here at the temple, to just get a bunch of powers all in a row so that we don't have to come here multiple times, which is quite nice. The temple is the only place in the run you can always fast travel to, but you can only do so from healed levels. And since we already got most of the seeds, we don't really have to worry about healing any levels. So we have very few opportunities to actually use the intended fast travel of the game.
Yes, although we will heal one level, and we can talk about that more when we get there, I suppose. But effectively, Heaven's Stair will just be on the way, so we might as well heal it, and it also gives us a fast travel point.
Yeah, it's like the one level where not healing it would just be way harder and slower than actually just doing what the game wants us to for a change.
Another dad fight. This one, in this category at least, is equivalent in terms of strats to the previous one.
Yeah, I guess should explain kind of the interesting thing about fighting Elika's father is that for the first two fights, she refuses to help you because obviously it's quite, conflicting for her since it's her father. Which means that our kind of like normal combos and strategies that we develop for all the other fights in the game don't apply to those two fights because we don't have access to Elika, and she's an integral part of most of the combos we do. So you kind of have to completely reinvent the wheel, so to speak, for those two fights. And I guess while Smath's just getting more powers here, I can quickly... also, usually when you step on a plate, the Prince and Elika speak to each other, and you can't go into the plate until they finish. because we stepped on the blue plate during that last cutscene, we actually get to go into it without having to listen to that dialogue, because it played in the middle of the cutscene, which is quite a nice little trick. But yeah, while Smath's getting more powers here, I can do a quick lore check-in. So, although we've done things horribly out of order, basically, the prince got lost in the desert. He wandered into the kingdom of the Aura, and of which Elika is the princess and her father the king. And basically, they are a people charged with keeping an evil god, Ahriman, locked away. But their magic has been failing over time, and so the king has decided to abandon this kingdom and leave the world to whatever fate it may meet. As we will learn later in the run, he specifically did that because Elika is a bit clumsy. Eraser, that's deeply disrespectful of you, and I would prefer if you didn't speak again.
So, one more plate, and then we go. And just another reminder that we've still got ledge storage.
Power from here, we could access fertile grounds in the Citadel and in the Royal Palace.
Yeah, I've been treating this section like it's low stakes and nothing is important because it is pretty straightforward, these sections. But technically speaking, if Smath makes a mistake, he could lose ledge storage still. So,
which would instantly kill the estimate, even if this run had been perfect up until now.
Yeah, this is a huge skip, this ledge storage warp, so... It's the type of thing where if you're doing attempts at a personal best, you basically just reset the run if you miss it, no matter what. Also, as you can see, this yellow power, quite slow. We will be using it as little as we can throughout the run, just because it is so slow. But it is required here and there.
Okay, WW, jump left, AAA, okay.
Yep, so let Smath focus here. There's it looks like he's just standing here, but there's actually there should be a cutscene here, but we've deleted it from the game to speed things up a little. You do still have to wait on the audio to finish, though. He is now going to do something we call Drep Warp, which is, as you may guess, based if you've been reading the chat, is named after Drep Fox. This is a ledge warp by grabbing onto the stairs you see behind the prince right now. There's a very specific spot that if you jump from just the right angle, you can grab them and warp. And we have a setup that Smath was just reading aloud to himself to remind himself. After the cutscene finishes, he can jump and move into a very specific spot reliably by pressing some keyboard keys in a very specific order. And from there, he just has to line up the camera and jump. And if he does it right, you will see him warp way back into the levels, all the way back to the spot where he said we have ledge storage now, like a long time ago.
We're going to fix this. You're not getting out. There you go.
Okay.
We're not out of the woods yet.
Nope.
This death is intended. It's required to load the next area.
And with that, we have done it. Now there's a cutscene, a very long one that he just skirted around the edge of. You have to be very specific with your movement on that platform. But he's now safe. The warp is over. He can now focus just on regular platforming again without too much concern. Now we're in the second part of the run, which is killing all of the bosses. Usually, each boss has 5 levels that you have to beat before you can open the black gate that exists for each of them. And once you've opened the gate, you can go fight them. We're not going to open any gates because that's slow. We are instead going to skip them all by various means. And for this one, there are actually like, I don't know, 6 ways to skip it or something crazy like that. But the quickest is just to clip through the wall. So
it's also probably the easiest, to be honest. Especially if you're already like if you're doing this run, realistically you can't possibly finish this run if you're not good at corner clipping. And so once you get good enough at corner clipping, I would say that's the easiest method. Skip coming up.
Yeah,
though.
for sure. Yeah, so as you can see, the green power is also quite slow, just like the yellow one. And so the less of it we do, the better. Smath is setting up here to do a very specific wall run so that he can skip a bunch of blue and green power plates and just go straight to the warrior fight.
I got the suboptimal variant, so I have to do 2 extra jumps, but it's okay. The optimal there is an optimal variant, but it's actually quite tight.
Yeah, and it just sets you up a little higher on the wall, so that you have to do fewer wall runs there. But it's, like he said, not a big time loss. So the warrior is unique among all of the enemies in the game in that your attacks don't have the normal effects on him. He is too like big and bulky, and so all of his fights revolve around luring him to the edge of the arena and then knocking him off. He's also the only enemy that can be considered to be a good person. He there's this whole like big conflict between Elika and the prince about whether or not he is a good person, but all of the other enemies are decidedly assholes. It is just the warrior that technically you can see him in a positive light if you choose to. Now, I just explained all of the warrior fights are about luring him to the edge and knocking him off, right? The big, scary, interesting thing about this final fight against him is that you can't do that. You cannot knock him off the edge in this fight. And so it becomes a war of attrition. And this is exactly what it's supposed to look like. It's definitely... Yeah, no, someone else is going to have to explain this. I actually don't know the reason, but there's a glitch occurring right now that makes this fight appear as if it's taking place in the dark. Usually you're supposed to be able to see what's going on.
It's because we did the drop warp.
Okay, so it's just because the game's kind of still got temple in mind in terms of like... Okay, yeah. But yeah, so basically, for a speed run, it becomes quite boring. During a casual playthrough, I think this fight's really cool, but during a speedrun, it's quite boring. You just need to essentially just run. You just have to dodge him until his health bar hits 0.
Though doing it blind is a bit more tricky, but the good news is that we're not completely blind. So what I'm looking at is the background. So I'm constantly dashing, and I look at the background. I can see when the camera pans, and that's how I know whether my dash was successful or whether I've hit an obstacle. which, well, in this case, the obstacle is the edge of the platform. So that's what I'm using to still kind of see to some extent. And sometimes, as I'm dashing, I get trapped. Sometimes I get trapped by something, and I have to kind of move towards him a little bit and then move back out. But most of it is just dashing away from him.
Yeah, you can't see it because of the glitch that's going on, but the edge of the arena collapses during that fight, making it smaller and smaller in theory. Because of some movement we do, we actually kind of can delay that. But under normal circumstances, the arena gets smaller and smaller as time goes on to kind of increase the tension. And if he does catch you, it's not the worst thing in the world. You just have to complete a quick time event. But if you fail that quick time event, then he regains a bunch of health, which is obviously very bad because of how slowly his health goes down in that fight.
I told you not to hesitate.
So here, Smath is going to quit out to the main menu. And this is going to skip carrying Elika in this case because the checkpoint is actually after you've finished carrying her. But there is another reason we quit here, yes?
Yes, it's because when we do double jump early, we get Alcara glitch, which is a glitch where we can't open the map. And the only known way to fix it is to save and quit, and this is the only point that we can save and quit without losing time.
Right.
And eventually we will need to use the map in order to fast travel.
So something nice about beating the bosses is that each of them gives you 25 light seeds for completing them. Unfortunately, we aren't able... So each boss has 2 of the 4 powers assigned to them, and you typically need those 2 powers to access that boss. We do have one exception to that. We can get to Warrior without the blue power, but because of the structure of this route, that ends up being slower in this particular case. So it would be great if we could get to more bosses without their required powers, because then we would get 25 seeds that could go towards getting those powers. But unfortunately, currently that's just not feasible.
That enemy is extremely tight.
Yeah, so we haven't actually explained those like swirling things
But
of black goo.
maybe let's talk about reverse City of Light cutscene skip, and then we can say that after.
I mean, the skip's free, so what really is there to say?
That was unintended.
So yeah, so as I said earlier, when he was here after the war, giant cutscene here, and by corner clipping, we can get around the cutscene. And even if it takes him a couple tries here, it will still be faster than watching the cutscene because it is just so long. There are actually 2 cutscenes here, but one of them in particular is quite long.
No, okay. I thought he was going to walk off the ledge and just fall off. That's... usually I get that first try, but marathon nerves. But we definitely need to get Hunter Return skip now.
Yeah, no, he does usually get that first try, but I do just want to reiterate, it's actually quite a precise and difficult skip. It is, it's not one of the easier ones for sure. But,
and also,
yeah, well, he's just doing some...
I've done this skip once in my D-Rush sessions, and I got it first try. So yeah, aside from having done it once earlier today, I haven't done it in 8 months. So there's that.
Classic.
But yes, feel free to explain whatever you were going to explain.
Yeah. So, just real quick, there's another skip coming up here he's going to do to skip more cutscenes. Yeah, you may have seen him slashing some like swirling goo vortexes. Those are enemy spawns that there we go. Those are enemy spawns that if you don't get to them fast enough, you have to do a fight. So there, he just ultimate glitched under the ground, and that again was just to avoid a lengthy cutscene. Here he is skipping all of the pillars and stuff because you have to do you have to essentially run on the ceiling of these hallways where you see all those like rings up on the top there, which is quite slow. Very cool looking animation, but quite slow. So he's just doing wall runs instead.
Which are harder than they look, I will say.
Yeah, they are for sure. It's not how you're intended to go through that section, and you do have to wall run in specific places.
Concubine gate skip with ledge storage.
Yep, so he fell down there for two reasons. One, to set up that skip, which is also harder than it looks, but also to set his ledge storage because he is going to, and thankfully this time he doesn't have to keep it for long, but he's going to do a warp that will allow him to skip some of the yellow plates in this area, which, as said and as you can see, very slow. So here's the warp. Gonna do some pause buffering here. Nice. We're gonna do some pause buffering here, I said, and then we didn't. This boss is a little more straightforward than the warrior. It has three parts to it, which are the concubine, master of illusions, kind of trying to taunt the prince and Elika and kind of convince the prince to essentially join the dark side. So we have to beat her 3 times here, but all 3 fights are relatively easy.
Forget about her. It's time to think about me.
Your turn!
Here! She might have your heart.
Because we haven't fought the concubine so far in this run, she's got very low HP in these fights. So normally we would have healed all of the concubine levels, of which there are 5, but because we haven't healed any of them, she has very little HP, which is why that fight was so short.
How much more time do you think we have left? We must keep going.
Yeah, it's actually quite a clever system. Because you can complete this game in any order casually, the way they designed the difficulty is that it scales with the number of fights you've done, the number of like levels you've completed, and because we don't, do any of that, we just end up essentially doing the easiest version of everything, which is quite nice. It's slow, but I do love the traversal up this tower. It is probably the most beautiful spot in the game, in my opinion, seeing like the giant moon in the background and stuff. Very Arabian Nights.
Your time is almost run. Armin's escape draws near.
That wasn't nice.
So yeah, the concubine's kind of gimmick in the game is that she is the enemy that is capable of disabling Elika for varying amounts of time. So there you saw her knock down Elika. earlier in the game,
Next floor is the last one.
she usually
Then we'll have her cornered.
like captures Elika with the black goo,
You have a choice.
rendering you unable to use her for a time.
Armin will clear up
Thankfully, we don't have to deal with any of that.
Yeah, and he's the trustworthy type, Armin. He'll just let us go so we can warn everyone he's about to get out. Silence speaks volumes.
So now we're headed to the final phase of the boss here. There is a cute little gimmicky puzzle here you have to solve, which is you'll see it once Math gets here. There's going to be a lot of Elikas, and they're all illusions, and you can't really interact with them. And the way that you find the real Elika is by jumping into the void, and she saves you, as she always does. And I will, for as long as I live, I will never forget this. It's probably one of my top 10 favorite moments in all of gaming for me. I could not figure out what the hell to do here. I want to say I was on this platform for at least 5 minutes, and I got so angry that I jumped off the edge in frustration. And then it turned out to be the solution to the puzzle. And I just could not stop laughing.
This had better I knew you'd save me.
What if I'd fallen unconscious again?
Ha. Oh, I didn't think of that.
Well, little man, you took the test.
Yeah, no, I agree. The puzzle solution makes sense, and it's very clever. At the time, it didn't even occur to me.
You will be stopped.
I lost
guess since
more
we're
time
finally-
there than I'd anticipated, so it's hard to say. It's gonna be extremely tight, even with Hunter Return skip.
Yeah, we'll see. I want to say, I think you failed the the section before the black gate where you have to like dodge a bunch of swinging poles. I want to say you failed that once or twice before you lost storage in world records. So there's some time to make up there in addition to also getting the skip. So
Like you've been saying.
we shall see.
I'm not the concubine. She's gone. You're stuck with me. That wasn't an illusion.
But yeah, I was just gonna say, now that we've finally seen what normal combat looks like, an hour and 15 minutes into the run, in this game, the longer your combo is, the more damage each hit does. But the animations are so long that, as Smath discovered a long time ago, you actually save a bunch of time by doing multiple shorter combos instead of just doing the longest possible combo over and over again. So you may have noticed he was only getting in like 4 or 5 hits there per combo, but each time he was doing it, he was getting combos that were incredibly short. So very beneficial in the long run.
Cutscene skip coming up. I'm doing the new variant.
Yeah, we've had a handful of different skips here, and this one is by far the easiest. So, shoutouts to Drep for like literally all the things.
Really?
Jump. Crazy.
So here we're making our way to Heaven's Stair, which I mentioned the last time we were here that we would be coming back several times. As Smath said, this is a level we are going to heal. In fact, the only one. And that is because to get to the Black Gate, we have... Like, the Black Gate is in a fight arena. So it just makes sense to just go ahead and do the fight. I don't even know if we have a way to skip it, but even if we did, it would surely be slower than just doing the fight. Especially because the Alchemist, the boss for this area, his gimmick is that he can be thrown off of ledges. Most of the bosses can't. But for him, you can just knock him up against the edge of the arena, do a little button mashing, and he instantly dies. So the fight, as you'll see, is comedically fast. Like, honestly, in the speed run, especially because we fight him so little, it's almost just like we're bullying the poor man. He basically just doesn't even get a chance to do anything or say any quippy lines. We just meet him and immediately throw him to his doom. He's also, I believe, the only corrupted, which is what the enemies are called. I believe he's the only corrupted that's confirmed to have once been a member of the Aura. I think everyone else is just vaguely said to be from somewhere else, but he specifically is mentioned. It's mentioned that he is just outright like a traitor. So here's my least favorite room in the entire game. The gimmick is you're supposed to use each of these 4 green plates to do a little platforming section to turn a switch, to get rid of the corrupted air that is now spewing into the room. The cool thing is that we can skip all of the green plates with clever platforming. The not cool thing is that the optimal way to do that is very hard. I don't like it.
Over there to activate this first mechanism.
Let's just make it fast. I don't want to end up with a lung full of corruption. That corrupted air might not be moving, but it's not thinning out either.
The 2K8 Prince says smoking is bad. Don't do it.
Okay. That's not to you, that's to the game.
Yeah, no, you're good. I saw. Yeah, so that is exactly why I don't like this room, although Smath usually nails it on the first try. The wall runs that you have to do to, like, go backwards in these sections are... they have a very specific and awkward timing.
It's weird, because that one usually doesn't. That was weird. That one's usually the easiest one, but I'm not sure what happened there.
That's interesting. I actually find that one to be the hardest.
It's clearing.
Then let's get to the top before the alchemist chokes us off again.
So, now that we've got all 4 switches, he's going to do a little cheeky jump here to just bypass some platforming. Or, well, I guess not platforming even, but there's like an elevator down at the bottom. You're supposed to turn a crank to lift it up to the top. So that's what we actually skipped there. So here we're coming up on the alchemist fight here, which I'll just let it speak for itself. And he's dead. So that's how straightforward most of the alchemist fights are. This is what healing a level looks like. Revel in it. It's the only time you get to see it. And there is the alchemist Black Gate. Though we're not ready to skip it just yet. Smath needs to...
I actually need to remember
Go
what
back.
to do now.
Yeah, he needs to get some seeds here and then go back to the temple to get the fourth and final power.
Becomes the past.
As
And
it is
get ledge
required.
storage.
Now build the foundation for
Yes,
Before
that
that.
too.
Depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is the thing we've been ominously alluding to. Hunter return skip. We are
First
going to get
it's
ledge
Alchemist
storage.
Return skip.
Yes, yes. Oh, sure, yes. First, we are going to get some light seeds and set our ledge storage, and then much later in the run, we will be able to, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, do another warp to... So that's a great example of how this game can screw you over there. He, I assume, was not holding that direction,
No.
but the prince can get, like, locked in... Yeah, the prince can get locked in, like, straight lines, and so if you press jump, he'll just jump in a direction not at all where you're actually trying to go.
Be ready.
And 540 with these two seeds.
Got one. That's it.
And so, you see there, we transitioned from healed level into unhealed level. Suddenly everything's bleak and sad again. The reason we are setting our ledge storage right there, where he just did, is so that we can quickly get back here, because here is the spot you can fast travel from, as he's demonstrating now. And so later in the run, we'll want to get back to the temple as quick as possible, and we'll need to fast travel to do that, and usually we would have to walk all the way back to Heaven's Stair. But the hope is that if he's able to maintain his ledge storage, he'll just be able to warp there and immediately fast travel, which will save a bunch of time.
But also first, dad free skip.
Yes, so there is another dad fight here, but if he opens his map in as the cutscene is ending, he can fast travel before the fight starts, and then when we come back later, we can actually walk around the fight trigger. Just a nice little time save. Which honestly I love. We've known for years and years that you're able to open the map in between these cutscenes and fast travel away from them, but typically when you come back to the temple later, necessarily, you end up hitting them anyway, so it doesn't actually save time. But finally we have a route now where it is useful. So here he's setting up an incredibly precise corner clip to skip the Alchemist Black Gate. This is easily the most precise corner clip in the run.
And if my camera is off by like 1 degree, then I'll end up grabbing that ledge and lose ledge storage.
Yeah, no, that makes it even scarier, that particular skip, because like it's always been hard in a place where you can lose a lot of time, but in this route you have to do it without losing ledge storage, which is just nerve-wracking beyond belief.
Yeah, and we used to use a setup to get into that position in the first place that required grabbing a ledge, but we can't even do that, so we kind of just have to wing it instead.
Yeah. Again, shoutouts to Drep. The Alchemist Gate Skip was a huge deal when it was found. It changed a lot about the run, and it's, as you can see, is so specific that I have no idea how he managed to find it, because I would have given up on that after failing it 100 times, and I have to imagine he failed it a lot more than that to find just the right angle to make it work.
I guess it's time to find out if you really are immortal.
Life is not yours to take, but I could give it to you.
Hey, I'm a legend. I'll live forever anyway. Wow, that sounded better in my head than out loud.
So, another multi-phase boss here. We take out most of his health in this little combat here, and then after some more platforming, we'll meet him in a very tiny arena that is surrounded by the corruption, the black goo. And typically, that's a great benefit for the alchemist, because if you knock him into it, he just gets to like teleport to a different part of the stage. But he has such little health that if you know the right combo, you can just instantly kill him, basically. So that's what we'll be opting for.
Okay, I see where this is going. Need you. Gonna survive.
One step at a time.
Whoa, this is high.
Stay away from the edge.
While I would love for Robbie to find more glitches in this game, I feel like I've already used up all of my goodwill with him, because, you know, Toka and I were like, hey, Robbie, can you find Moon Temple Skip? And he just did. Something we had both spent quite a bit of time looking for, and we just handed him a game he didn't even play, and he spent 30 minutes, and he was like, okay, here you go, and just handed us a giant time save. So I don't think I get to ask anything more of him for the rest of my life.
Maybe, but you won't live forever.
So keep in mind that we still have ledge storage. And we will do a ledge warp afterwards to skip a platforming section. However, fun fact, if I mess it up, and it's quite easy, so I shouldn't mess it up, but if I do, then we actually go back to this arena and I soft lock. Because
Yeah,
if we die, then we're going to go back to this arena, because that's the last solid ground that we stood on.
You told him.
So yeah, that's funny.
Our immortality.
yeah, I have done that. I have lost a run to that.
And of course, if you do go back to this arena, as you can see, it's completely collapsed and you can't get to the next platform casually or by any means. Anyway, remember where we got our ledge storage?
Yeah, good idea.
Here we go. Alright, I'll shut up now.
Yep, so you just saw him warp there once. Now he's going to try and do it again, but this time he has to go beat the hunter first. So we're back in hectic hell here, where he has to not lose his storage for quite a long time. Right there, he did a very specifically timed double jump to avoid grabbing that swinging pole, which does reset your ledge storage. Now he is going to do some very specific movement here to prevent a cutscene from playing. Very nice, very nice. So there's a little cutscene that, right there that introduces you to that level, and by doing a wall run there, we can prevent it from playing.
I'm not 100% sure if I did an extended jump to skip one of those poles. I'm 75% sure I didn't. But
Yeah, I saw it, and I don't think you did. I'm pretty sure you're good.
okay.
Yeah, so something that might not be obvious is you might think like, well, if he loses his storage close to the intended location, then it only loses a little time. That's not actually the case because we're warping from so far away and here he's gonna skip some platforming and another cutscene. But we're warping from so far away that you actually have to hit a load trigger on your way, like during the warp, and so we have to warp from very specific locations and for like very specific directions. Here he is doing more fancy movement to skip grabbing these swinging poles. It is not easy. And it's gone.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man.
Run is overestimate.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't warp now. We're going to have to walk all the way back to Heaven's Stair. World record failed in basically exactly the same place. It is that particular pole, very hard to skip. This one as well, he won't actually have to deal with it, but skipping this swinging pole in particular is very tricky. So that skip, it comes in the last quarter of the run, and it is difficult to pull off. So it is one of the most brutal things about this particular category. Under normal circumstances, we would have to use the plates here to traverse this area normally so that we could maintain our storage. What he's going for here is because he doesn't need storage anymore, he can do a faster version of this this boss level. So he's setting up ledge storage here to do a warp, and now he can ultimate glitch his way through, in theory.
I'm just... Really? Okay, I'll try it one more time. Okay, I don't know what's happening, to be honest, so I'll just do it the casual way. That's unfortunate.
No, entirely
I'm very,
fair.
very disappointed. But yeah, I had the timing correct. I don't know what happened. I knew I jumped too early, and yeah, that's disappointing. But yeah, it is what it is. At least we showed off how ridiculously difficult this run is these days.
Yeah, for sure. It is an absolute gauntlet, those storage sections. You cannot make a single mistake, and on top of that, it's not even just like you have to play the game without making a single mistake. You have to go out of your way to do very difficult things to avoid getting storage, and most of them are such that if you mess them up even a single time, that's GG.
I just fat fingered the wrong button there.
Here we go.
Okay, so we'll be about 3 or 4 minutes overestimate.
Still have a chance. You can still leave.
Guess that's our answer.
So another multi-phase boss here. The Hunter is really straightforward. He doesn't really have a gimmick. He's kind of the most straightforward of all the enemies. I guess his gimmick is that he like sets traps and stuff, but that doesn't actually affect you when you're playing the game. It like all happens in cutscenes, really. So. So now just a little platforming and then the final phase of the fight here.
Or not.
That one took me by surprise. There you go.
Vel and RWS for Life have expressed their support for you in the chat and say they are with you. And I believe that means by inference everyone else is against you.
Fantastic.
Stone floor. Looks like you've run out of places to hide.
So maybe let's try it again at PoPRuns 11. Hunter return skip and sub 2 estimate.
Ottoman will never return.
But Smath, this is the final PoPRuns.
Yeah, we can we can make things happen. Like maybe
Sorry.
what if I want to show off sub 2 2K8 in a marathon so much that I just magically make PoPRuns 11 happen? Just for
Sorry,
that.
Eraser, you heard the man. I'm afraid we're going to have to pull you out of retirement next year.
We'd better get out of here. Now.
PoPRuns 11, Return of Hunter Return Skip.
So, ideally, we would have skipped a bunch of other polls up to this point as well, which would have had some interesting skips as well. Even if I hadn't failed that one, it's very possible I would have failed one of the next ones, because the next one, it has extremely tight timing. It's like 6 frames or something, possibly even less than that. But ideally, we would have had ledge storage up until now, and then right after landing from here, we would have gone to the left to ledge warp. But instead, we're going to skip this cutscene. So we just jumped over a cutscene there.
Yeah, it is. That particular section is just devastating. It is genuinely like several skips in a row, all of which are hard enough that you need to spend a significant amount of time practicing each and every one of them. And if you miss a single one of them, your run's probably dead.
Yeah, can I just point out, by the way, that like, yes, I failed this in a marathon, but actually no one has done it first try in a run either. And people have attempted it in something like 10 runs now, and not a single one of them succeeded first try. So all of them either failed or succeeded after several attempts, and we didn't get the full time save. So yeah, it's not just tough for a marathon. Literally no one has even done it in any run ever. And people who have attempted are myself, Sam, and GMP.
Yeah, I got it in my PB, but not on first try for sure.
Yeah. So we would have skipped this entire walking section.
Also, if I can just take a moment to try and give you an idea of how insanely good at this game Smath is. He got world record. He got under 2 hours in this game while missing that skip. So like I know he's super disappointed and he's going to be a few minutes over and stuff on this run, but in world record he also made that exact same mistake and had to do this long walkabout, and it was still sub 2. I remember being absolutely flabbergasted when sub 2 happened, because the moment he failed that skip I was like, oh man, it's over, it's not going to happen in this run, and then it did anyway. This game is very challenging to do optimally. Like, to have good movement in this game is very hard. And it is the thing that Smath is best at in the community by far. So now he's going to walk around the trigger for the dad fight here that we skipped earlier. And now we're heading towards the final boss. We just have a platforming section here with two skips in it. The first one is low stakes and very easy. The second one's not too bad, but it does require a very specific timing. And if you fail it, you have to redo the entire area.
Yeah, so I switched to controller for this area because I am better at doing the final skip, Mentor skip 2 on controller. And the reason for that is just because you have to hold a direction to the right and also mash Elika, and on keyboard that would be holding D and mashing E. And while it's very doable, it's just a little bit awkward, and since controller has no disadvantage whatsoever, might as well switch to controller, and also it's just what I'm used to at this point. But yeah, for this skip, I will be using an auditory cue. So you see the textures on all these walls are moving, which means there's no visual cue I can use to time the jump. So I'll be using an auditory cue. So once we get there, I'll ask Sam to keep quiet as well so that I can listen in. And then, yeah, as I think Sam already explained, if I'm a bit too late, then it's not a big deal. I just don't get the skip and lose 10 seconds. But if I'm a bit too early, then we have to do this entire section again. And then we'll be even more horrendously overestimate than we already are. Although, you know, I'm speaking as someone who's been overestimated by 25 minutes in the past, so... anyway, so Skip's coming up now.
Not exactly a good track record between the two of us.
Yeah. Skip's coming up now, so I need silence. Got it.
Nice. Yeah, so I mean, the skip pretty straightforward there. He skips that red plate and all the stuff it takes you to, but as you can see, if he does it at the wrong time, he doesn't get that horizontal wall run, and he ends up dying. So
I think we missed our entrance.
So now our final dad fight of this run, though you'll get to enjoy plenty more dad fights in the next run. Yeah, we're on this small little platform here. If you knock Elika's dad, who is now fully corrupted, he is no longer Elika's dad, but he is now the king. And if you knock him against a ledge or a wall, you have to do a little quick time event, and it wastes time. So Smath's going to attempt here to position him correctly and do the right combos. Also, look at the prince's face here. My favorite expression in the whole game. Smath's going to attempt to do combos here such that he essentially juggles the enemy in the middle of the stage and prevents him from ever hitting the edge.
Elika, set me free.
The first combo that I did there was a B1, which is Elika jump sword sword sword, and the rest of them are Elika jump sword sword sword. The reason we do it in that order is because we don't want to start with the double Elika combo because that might knock him off the ledge. So we start with a single Elika combo, and then we also finish with a single Elika combo.
Yeah, you see there, he has all the gimmicks from all the bosses, though we didn't get to see most of them, but you did just see he, like, went full black and had tentacles coming out of him. When he's in that state, only Elika can damage him, but luckily we start all our combos with Elika anyway, so it doesn't end up mattering.
And now the final boss, which is actually hard, but not for a good reason. Like, it's hard not because they designed him to be hard, but because the gameplay, just because of gameplay limitations, effectively.
We must reach that plate.
Yeah, they thought it would be a cool idea to use a fixed camera angle here, so you're seeing yourself through Ahriman's eyes, which is super cool, but it makes the platforming, because the platforming in this game wasn't built around the concept of fixed camera angles, so it does make it quite hard.
And also just
And
the
as you
vines
just-
in general.
Yes, the vines are very poorly designed. It's you can mash the jump button to move on them faster, but you never can be quite sure exactly where the edge of the vines is, and so you never know when the prince is going to start his wall run. And so if you mash too aggressively, he'll end up just jumping off the wall and dying, which loses a lot of time.
The light won't go out. Go, go!
Eraser suggests that if you use my speed con timing and end the timer after this fight, then you will easily get sub 2.
Ormaz, give me the strength. Keep going.
Come on, climb, climb! You're going back in that hole, Armin!
No, Val. When I ran this at a marathon in Germany, a skip that I needed to do at the time in that route went wrong. For whatever reason, on the PC at the event, it just wouldn't work with my normal setup. And it ended up wasting a ton of time, and then also the rest of the run was quite messy. So I was so overestimate that in order to only be a minute overestimate, I just told them to end the timer at not the actual end of the game. That's what he was referring to.
Best marathon 2K run ever, by the way. And I say this unironically.
You know, it was so bad that someone donated money just to say, I can't believe how well you're keeping it together. I'll never forget that donation being read. Someone literally gave money to charity just to let me know that they were impressed that I hadn't broken down crying.
That's so funny. Just that whole marathon was so good. And Toka's run as well. I'm sure from the perspective of the runner in both cases, it was awful. But from the perspective of the viewer, and I was watching both of them live, it was just, they were masterpieces, both of them.
Sometimes I think I'm still there on that stage eating those grapes. Sometimes it feels like I never left.
I've got you!
I will never forget those grapes. I brought grapes to PoPRuns 4 as an homage to those runs. And then I think I made you cook a grape pizza as well.
Yeah, I did do that. Not something I've ever repeated, but it wasn't horrible.
I'd imagine it would taste like pineapple pizza.
Yeah, it was very analogous.
So this is the end of the Ahriman fight. So this is what Sam was referring to. This is where we would end.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. Before I ran this game, there was one speed run on the leaderboard, and it was by a guy named D-Pad Gamer. And he didn't like route the game at all. He just played it from start to finish in one sitting and called that a speed run, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. but his time was atrocious. It was like 7 hours. And when I started running this game,
We did it!
I watched his run through just to see if he did do any tricks that I didn't know about. And I realized that he ended his timer after this fight. And I was like, I felt like such a dick because obviously like his run wasn't competitive and it didn't matter, but I had to be like, guys, I think we have to like disqualify this run and remove it from the board because he didn't follow the rules.
Rules are rules, even though that run was probably done before the rules were written.
Yeah, Drep. He ended at first credits, or however you want to word it. He ended when at the cutscene where you set Elika down, which, to be fair, does. I mean, it's a fake ending, so it feels like that is where the game ends, but technically there is gameplay left to do.
I mean, I don't think that video was intended as a speed run to begin with, so it doesn't surprise me. Well, to some extent it does, because you'd think for a walkthrough, or for just like some kind of long play that people can just watch on YouTube, you'd think you'd want to include the whole game for the sake of the story. So I'm not sure why it was cut like that. But on the other hand,
Well, he did have a timer. Like he
Oh.
did intend, like when he sat down, he intended to submit it to speedrun.com. I think he just assumed. I think he just assumed because the credits played, he was just like, well, this should count as the end. But
well, here we
yeah,
go.
no, I did.
Roll credits.
Yeah, there you go. I did download his run when the whole Twitch thing happened, just so we have it for historical record, since it was the first ever run submitted. But yeah, no, it is by today's standards, or even the standards of its time, not necessarily a good run. It's I guess some quick history about this game. It started really with a segmented run that was done, and that really set the foundation for a lot of the tech and some of the early skips we had for this game. Problematically, though, ledge warps and some other things are tied to frame rate. And now, obviously, this game came out in 2008. Just about any gaming PC these days can run this game at 60 FPS without it ever dropping. But the guy who made the segmented run way back when, his PC could only run this game at like 45 FPS. And that meant he was able to do ledge warps that are not possible on other computers. So that took a long time to figure out, and I tried really hard for hours and hours to recreate some of his skips, and I could never get them to work. It turned out to just be because his PC was too slow to run the game properly.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting conundrum from a rule set perspective, because, well, luckily we haven't had to deal with that since. But from a rule set perspective, it's interesting because you can't reject a run because their PC is crap and the game was lagging.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, if it unlocks skips that other people aren't able to do, well, we haven't really had to explore that since, because luckily we don't have any skips that save time in modern runs that make use of that, and I hope no one ever finds them, because I don't want to ever have that discussion.
Yeah, we would have to like artificially cap our game or something. It would be a bit of a mess. It is worth noting the prince's walk speed in this game is somewhat tied to FPS. So if you run at a higher FPS, the whole game moves a little faster. But if you run at too high of an FPS, the loading screen soft lock. So we, as a standard across all the games, we just put in the rules that you need to run this at 60 FPS, just because that keeps things simple and fair.
Yeah, drop glitches and corner clips are actually really tricky on higher FPS. I tried it. I tried this game at higher FPS once when I was at Quickcade, which was a marathon here in London. And I was playing at 144 FPS, I think. And when you do a drop glitch or a corner clip, the animation plays way faster, so the timing is way more tight.
Interesting. Yeah, that does make some sense. I know in TFS, if you run uncapped frame rate, you can clip by rolling into corners. You can clip through through the corner and just fall out of bounds. And it's based on like it's the same engine and everything as this game, so it makes sense that there would be like weird little quirks like that.
Well, speaking of TFS, we'll have epilogue after this. So if you want to finish the story with the epilogue DLC and also a bunch of skips that Drep found. Seriously, like in the past year, Drep has completely revolutionized epilogue. I would say 50% of the run is just completely different. And by that, I don't mean that, like, you know, every now and then we see a different skip or something. I mean, like, completely different. Like, half of the run is just walking out of bounds and stuff. It's kind of crazy. So, and I think Drep actually found a new skip last night as well, which he's been trying to find for 7 years or something like that. And he found it yesterday. I don't know if he's going to be going for it because it seems to be very difficult. But yeah, so stay tuned for Drep's run next. It's definitely going to be a good one. And then right after that is TFS, as Sam mentioned, where also Drep found some nifty new skips that have never been shown at PoPRuns before. So definitely stay tuned for Epilogue and the Forgotten Sands coming up after this run.
Yeah, I didn't want to take away any of the commentary from Epilogue, but I was going to say that he found that last night, and if I know Drep as well as I think I do, I would bet my life that he's going to go for it no matter how hard it is. So, but yeah, we'll do our final lore check-in here. There is one skip coming up here where Smath's going to do a wall run to try and avoid a section where the game makes you walk to like for cinematic stuff, but let that play out here real quick.
Yep, done.
Cool. Yeah, so there you can see the prince walked a little at the end there. Usually that you have to walk that entire stretch. But yeah, final lore check-in. So basically, this whole game, we did everything we could to re-imprison Ahriman, and then at the very end, we undo all of our hard work and release him again to bring Elika back to life, which is exactly what her father did when he released Ahriman, because Elika had died, and he was willing to throw away the world for her. Unfortunately, this game never got a proper sequel, and it never will. But it's clear that, to me at least, that Ormaz, the god of light that the Aura worship, he essentially gave the prince visions telling him to bring Elika back to life. So it seems clear that it's actually like the prophecy or whatever that this was always supposed to happen.
Hopefully Eraser got that, or Toko, whoever. That was time.
Yeah, Eraser's in the channel, so hopefully
Okay.
he picked up on that. But yeah, so we bring Elika back to life, and you can find out how she feels about that in just a few minutes when Drep plays Epilogue.
Yeah, so
And
this
yeah,
was a massive
244
disappointment.
over.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just how it is. It's my fault if I'd worked a bit harder. I've only been derusting this for like a couple days. If I'd worked a bit harder, I think I could have done it. But it is what it is. I had other commitments. But yeah, definitely check out Epilogue. That's gonna be, as I said, it's been completely revolutionized since last year, and TFS afterwards as well. Some new skips. So yeah, that was Prince of Persia 2008.